we sat here last week and you weren't happy with, the pressure you guys got, playmaking in the backfield, any of that, and 12 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, a number of more hits on the quarterback. What do you think of the effort up front?
I think they did a great job, man. And we have the right guys for it, and it was cool just to see them respond and seeing the missed opportunities we had the week prior and seeing them take the coaching and the drills we did and then trying to put them in better situations. But honestly, hats off just to our players. I mean, they play hard all the time. They practice hard, and then seeing that translate to production on the field was awesome for them. So just excited for our players, and they did an awesome job.
How about George Tarlas? From the first play of the game, he seemed ready to go,
Yeah.
and he showed that he could be kind of a force
Yes.
for you guys.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, George's that guy that I'm very happy that he was able to achieve what he did on Saturday. Now, there's still a lot as a whole group we need to grow in and improve, but it's cool for him just to now, because same thing, he works his tail off. I mean, we've talked about before, he's in here training, watching every little thing he can on his opponent and also the ways he can grow, and then seeing that show up with the production he had on Saturday is awesome. Because when you put the work in, you do it consistently, being able to reap those benefits is always super encouraging as a coach. So it's cool for George to be able to see that, and there's still a couple other sacks on the table that I know he's frustrated about, and we'll make sure we get some next time. Thanks, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
How frustrating is it when you play really well and you have to get one big play and it changes a lot of the numbers and things? When you're only getting to give up like 50 yards for the gain or something if you take out that one play.
Yeah, I mean, it's absolutely frustrating to answer your question, BJ, but it is a very good thing for our players to always see, like, you live on the razor's edge on defense. You can be giving up whatever is 40, 50 yards to that point of total offense, and one play comes out and they launch and they get it and it's an explosive play and all those things. So very frustrating to happen. We're working on finding ways to where it doesn't happen, first and foremost as a coaching staff, and then the techniques that our players play with in those situations, especially on the outside. But it's the razor's edge we live on, and trying to show our guys that you could be playing lights out all the way up until a moment, but you have 1 or 2 or maybe 3 bad plays. All of a sudden you lose a football game and everyone's looking at you like, why'd you guys play so terrible on defense? And maybe it was only 3 or 4 plays, but that's what you need to be elite, is to find a way to make sure those don't happen. And especially if you give up an explosive play, we got to find a way to get them on the ground and give us another shot, because I'll take our guys against anybody if you give us another shot.
I mean, you were putting historic numbers if you take out that play. I mean,
Yes.
Is that overall, you had to be pleased though that you guys were limit them the way you did.
Yeah, no, I'm very proud of our guys, especially on a short week and the type of schematic issues that they present with the different run looks and the play action shot. Our guys, from obviously the frustrations we had the week prior, learning and growing from, knowing what we needed to, and like I said, still a lot of room to grow, and I'm excited for us to take another step this week, but very proud of how our guys played, and I think they're playing at a high level.
When it comes to Zeke Noah, is he like literally playing faster because he's faster, or is he just playing faster because of how
It's funny. There's a lot of people that. I mean, I think I'm excited for Zeke and DJ together. Especially there were some question marks, I think, going into this year. With losing Riley and depth at inside linebacker, and seeing them play the way they had these first 2 weeks. Once again, still a lot that they need to improve and grow in, but they're playing at a high level. I think they understand the scheme at a new level for themselves, to where not only can they communicate and get things lined up, but they know what they're supposed to do because of how they prepped, and they have confidence to be able to go out there and play fast. So they're not playing hesitant and reacting. Mm-hmm. They're able to know what's coming and they can go attack, and they're playing fast.
You look into their eyes and they just seem pretty locked in
Yeah,
right now. I mean,
they are.
How dialed are those guys? And Zeke shows a little more emotion than DJ. But,
Yeah.
I mean, DJ's pretty flatline, it seems. But you look in their eyes and you see how dialed they are.
No doubt. And just if you guys could, see these guys from now until kickoff. They live in the meeting room. They obviously, as older guys, they're taking care of their bodies with the amount of reps we're having them play. So they're living in the training room, making sure that their bodies are ready for these moments. And then when they get out there, they're playing at a very high level because of how they've handled that week. Because don't get twisted, when we go to practice, these guys are getting all the reps. They're playing their tails off. So it's not like we've changed anything from their load. Like they're getting a lot of work, and they're getting ready for the game in practice and meetings, which is what everybody on our defense needs to do. It's just really, it makes me feel good for them because of the work I've known they put in this whole offseason. I know Zeke and DJ both had things that they wanted to do better from last year, and seeing them do that these first 2 games, still a lot of things that we want to keep taking strides in, but I'm very happy with what they've done these first 2 games, excited for them to take another step.
What's DJ like as a person? What's his deal?
He is one of the engaging guys you'll be around. If you ask I don't want to just say him. There's a lot of these guys on our team, or multiple, but he's that guy that will walk by anybody and know something about him, right? Everybody loves DJ. They just love him. And everyone's got a nickname about him. I mean, he's a super hairy guy, so guys call him all different types of names, right? But he's just he's a phenomenal teammate. He's paid his dues, and so he's a guy that has been here for a while and is now stepping into a big time role for our defense. But it hasn't always been that way. But he's never changed. He's been working his tail off when he was younger. Then he got on some special teams. Then he got a backup role. Now he's a starter making plays, and he's a low ego, high output guy. That's who he is. Where he's in the meeting room, he's helping a freshman out. He's studying the same way he would study like he was a freshman. And now it's just cool to see him making these plays and like Jay brought up, like moving at a very high level that DJ, he hadn't moved like that when he was here early on. So it's cool seeing him kind of step in that role. But he's an engaging, fun guy, very, very level-headed, always has a little joke, but he's super tough too. Like he's a guy that if he's banged up and I'll ask him how you feeling, great coach, and I'd be like, no, like literally tell me how you're feeling. Like I'm not, because I know you're tough and I know you're going to be that guy that pushes through.
So in case we run into him in the hallways, what's the one thing we need to know about him?
Oh man, you can mess with DJ, you can joke with him. Like he's got a great personality. Probably mess with him about his beard. That's something that we usually mess with him about because I always joke with him that I would pay good money to have the same beard he does. But he's a guy that you can hang out with, interview, be around. Like I said, just a low ego, high output guy that is just phenomenal to be right, and a guy that I know that I am excited to be close with long after he's gone from here.
I'm just gonna go there and ask then. You bring up the beard, but what about the arm hair?
Oh, he's rocking it. Oh yeah. There's a lot of different names for him. Let's just say that in the locker room. But he's a fan favorite in our group because of who he is as a person. Like he can go to the freshman who just got here, but then he's also got the respect of our older guys because of his play on the field and how tough he is. So he's just a great leader on our team.
What are some of those nicknames you throw around then in the locker room? What are the
I'm going to leave those in the locker room. Yeah, we're going to leave those right there. Yeah.
How does the conversation go when you have two defensive guys that get picked to help out with some offensive endeavors like you did on Friday with Herbert and
Oh man, they love it. I mean, it's whenever that package is called on offense, I mean, you just see the defensive sideline just light up, and they see Herbert Gums and Scott Matlock go out there because it's an awesome way to really bring both sides together. Obviously, you have special teams, which is really the culmination of O&D together, right? Us coming together as a team. But then when you see Big Scotty and Herbie go out there on short yards or goal line, I mean, our guys, they love them up. They just want to score another touchdown. It's really what they want now, more than anything.
How do Herb's hands compare to Scott's?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, Herbie's got some good hands. Scott does have a touchdown on him, though. So it's close. It's close. I will say that. They're both ready for a touchdown. I've told Coach Plow that.
With Canijo, he's had to come in and play some obviously with Markel coming down. So it seems like at times teams are picking on him a little bit or trying to throw his way more often. Some good, some bad. I mean, how do you look at what Noe's done so far?
Yeah, very proud of Noe in regards to. I mean, he came off a shoulder injury in the offseason. Had a really good fall camp. And especially with Markel going down, stepping into that role, and knowing that, I mean, Caleb Biggers is playing at a high level right now. Not perfect, but he's playing at a high level. So opposite of him is usually where teams have shown to go. And Noe stepped up, man, and he's continued to grow and work the techniques, the fundamentals that are going to help him. But he's a very savvy football player, and not a lot phases him, which when you play that position on the outside, I tell him, if you make a mistake, everybody knows. There might be someone in the box that make a mistake, you get it down. Maybe nobody knows what happened. At corner, you make a mistake, the world's going to know that it was your fault. And so you have to live on that razor's edge that obviously we don't want them to make those mistakes, but they do. You got to line back up and be ready to compete again. And he does a good job with that. And it's been cool to see him grow even from last year. Because he played a lot last year with the injuries we had at corner and seeing him step into that role. So I think him and Tyreek LaBeouf both have done a really good job picking up with Markel's absence.
How do you look at? I mean, obviously, LaBeouf is a lot bigger, lankier, and provides that. But how do you look at like him and Noe and they're both fighting, I guess, for playing time there, but they're different guys.
Yeah, very different players. Like Noe's a very savvy football player. Tyreek's longer than him and can use his length in different situations. So the techniques that they use sometimes be different. One will play better press, one will play better off, and they both kind of do things better in certain situations. And so that's what we're, as a coaching staff, having them compete and being able to compete at those spots because they both do things differently. I think Noe's got the transition to be able to run with anybody. Tyreek's long and can win at the line of scrimmage. And so there's a lot of different techniques that I know Coach Warren's working with them that can highlight what they can do best. Because at the end of the day, we need those guys to play at a high level. And if a team doesn't like what they're dealing with in the box or they can't figure out our structure, the immediate thing they know they got usually is something on the outside. And that's what's shown up for the past couple games and even last season.
What do you think about Scott Matlock's start to the season and whether it be pressuring the quarterback the other night or getting down the line of scrimmage to make some plays? I mean, he's pretty impressive.
So proud of Scotty. I mean, and you guys know this about me. I mean, but I love him dearly, and it chokes me up sometimes just thinking of him and where he's come from to this point. But he is playing at a very high level now. There's even some stuff from the game that there was even some more production that he left out there just from some from keys and some eye control that he needs to work on. But he's playing at a very high level, and he should be in regards to who he is, how he's prepped, how he's trained. And I'm excited to see him even grow as the season progresses because I think the world of Scott Matlock. And I think he can continue to take football as long as he really wants it to go, as long as he keeps growing. Because the mentality he shows up here every day, guys, is exactly what you would want it to be. He comes in here, works, takes all the reps in practice he needs to, lives in the training room, goes in the weight room, trains. There is nobody that is above that. And especially a guy that takes the beating like the D tackles do day in and day out. I mean, he shows up to work and he'll be the first one to the football on a pursuit drill that we're working in practice. There's I played this many. No, he's still getting there. And seeing that now show up in games, the fourth down stop, the sacks, my heart gets a lot of joy for him because I know the work he's put in to now make those plays.
What's it like to try to get him out of the game?
Tough. I'm glad I'm not on the sideline. I'll tell you that right now. I just phoned down, hey, Frank, take Scotty out, and then I just mics up, and then little by little we get him off. We got to take his helmet from him. But he just loves football, loves this team, and like I've told you guys before, I mean, I'm not saying in a perfect way, but I never need to guess if Scott Matlock's going to be ready to go this weekend. Like, he will get himself in a situation where he'll be ready to play.
Dimitri looks like he's off to a quiet start. There was cramping issues that first game. What did you see this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the cramping is something that showed up for us with a couple different guys, game one and even this past game. So it's something we're looking at holistically in regards to hydration and pregame and some of those, which I know inhibited him in game one. But Dimitri, he does so much for our defense, and he's one of the guys that brings us a lot of multiplicity in regards to being able to play stud, field side end, in our sub packages, he can be off the ball. And so now it's really just fine tuning it for him to where, okay, let's make sure you're in the role that you can make a lot more plays, because he's smart enough to be able to do all these different positions. Now let's put you in a situation where you can capitalize on your knowledge of. But he's been working his tail off, and even with the cramping and getting banged up, he comes out and practices and plays super hard. So I really think the best is still to come for Dimitri.
You guys had the punt block, obviously, but the play before that, you have the sack to actually pin them deep in the end zone to where you can make that play possible. How important is it, I guess, for you guys to have good plays and then build upon those plays like you guys did with that punt block? Yeah, I mean, it's just complimentary football without question. So if a team is backed up, which they were, it's our job to make sure they stay there. Because then even if the punt doesn't get blocked, our offense is starting on the logo or close to the 40-yard line, which, I mean, you're going to score points more times than not. So trying to build that into our guys, that it's not just defense, offense, and special teams. Is okay, if we can keep a team backed up, obviously you want to block a punt and score a touchdown every time. But at least let's give the ball back to our offense on the 40-yard line. So trying to breathe that in at all times is everything for our guys. And being able to continue to build upon drives. Like, the biggest thing that I've been talking to our guys about is similar, like what BJ brought up, is just living on that razor's edge with your discipline, your eye control. Because we have a good team. We got a good squad. We're growing every week. Now it's, can we go 3 and out, and just keep at a team, and not let a lax in eye control or discipline create an explosive play that then has us reeling. And so that's something that I've been on our guys about, and they know, and that's defense. It's not like that's Boise State. That's, if you want to be elite in defense, you got to make sure that's who you are, where it doesn't matter the play, doesn't matter the drive. You're getting the same thing from a discipline and a production standpoint regardless.
And I think we're taking steps to that, which we did this weekend. Now it's just going to be staying at it and continue to do it.
And so did somebody ask you about UTM?
No, not yet. Yeah.
Did you answer what?
Yeah.
What impresses you about
Yeah.
them? What
Got a lot of respect for what they do. I mean, talked to a lot of different defensive coordinators that have played them over the years. The head coach is very involved in the offense, and he does a phenomenal job with it. They got a quarterback that can make every throw. I've seen him throw a comeback all the way 16 yards, bottom of the numbers, opposite hash, which is a tough throw to make. They've got really good speed at receiver, got a tough tailback, and their offensive line is long and athletic. Like, they do a great job. They have multiple blocking schemes in regards to their mid zone and some of the different gap schemes they create, and they have a tempo aspect off of it as well. So I think it's one of those offenses that you got a lot of different stuff you got to defend. You got to defend the outside perimeter game. You got to defend the shots, and then they create so much space that you got to find ways in regards to run fits to make sure you're sound there. So hats off to what they do offensively, and it's going to be another big challenge for us.
All right, Joe. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.